Hi everybody, my name is Julio Salgado. I'm the project manager for Culture Strike. Welcome to another edition of Taco Talk, where we talk to your favorite artists, activists while eating tacos, because if we're not uniting through tacos, I don't want to fuck with you. For today's interview, we have the one and only Felipe Baeza! Yay! Thank you for being in the show.
Oh, thank you for finally inviting me. I was the original one.
Exactly. For those of you who do not know, Felipe was actually the first person that I interviewed in my laptop. That was the genesis.
It was your leg,
became Taco Talk. Today we ordered tacos from Tepache. Shout out Tepache. What kind of tacos did you get?
Fish taco and then a cactus.
I got some shrimp tacos. We'll go ahead, have some tacos, have some taco orgasms, and then we'll talk about your art career.
Well, there's no.
Because he's an artist. Yo, those tacos, they were legit.
They're actually legit, yeah.
Like I was doubting it a little bit because I'm like, every time, like you said, New York tacos are at a miss.
And it's definitely more of a miss than a hit.
As I mentioned when we started talking, Felipe was actually one of the first people that I interviewed, and one of the first artists that Culture Strike worked with that was undocumented and queer. We're working on our first project called Migration Now Portfolio.
Oh yeah,
you did a piece for that.
I did.
So before we get into all that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us
a little bit of my life story. What do you want?
You don't have to tell us your life story, but where did you grow up? Where'd you come from? And yeah,
my immigrant story.
I mean, you don't have to tell us your immigrants. You don't have to cry in front of the camera.
Okay, good.
It's not that kind of story.
I'm from Mexico, from Guanajuato. I came here when I was 7, grew up in Chicago until I was 18, and then went to college, moved to New York, and I've been in New York ever since. I went to Cooper, and obviously like many immigrants, not just undocumented people, many immigrants, like college was not an option. And Cooper was an option because Cooper was fully funded. And I didn't know it at all. Like I was just applying everywhere as if I had money, as if my parents had money. You know,
you gotta pretend.
And failing my parents, you know, because I was applying to art schools. You know, I wasn't applying to like
medical school
or a lawyer. You know,
were your parents supportive about that decision?
Yeah, they were supportive. I think if anything, I had really supportive parents, and they wanted me to do whatever I wanted to do, and they knew like making art was something I wanted to do. But even so, that Cooper was fully funded. Obviously, like I got help from my parents to move to New York. I went out of undergrad with no debt. You know, like I don't know how people do it with that. You know, it's like.
I've always said that it's a blessing to be undocumented.
It is.
Going to college.
For young people, I think it's.
Yeah, like when you, because you're, you know, yeah, sure, it might take you like 10 years to finish college, but because you don't qualify for loans, you sort of like go in, you wash dishes, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a job here. I did everything. I got a job here. I did like everything you can imagine in the service industry.
One of the highlights of you while you were at Cooper Union, you had a show, an art show that was a little controversial. First, let's talk about the imagery that you used and what happened at this show.
Obviously, growing up queer and then religious, like my mom's side, they're like evangelical Christian fanatics, and then my dad's side, they're Catholic but a bit open-minded. But even so, like even that mentality of like growing up between these two like religions that are like opposing to your lifestyle. So it was a lot of sexual imagery with a lot of religious imagery, you know. Back then I was still kind of like, as they call it now, in the shadows. You know, I wasn't
out of the shadows, girl.
So that definitely took me like out of the shadows. You know, like it forced me to come out.
Right.
But yeah, I like this like religious group came after me, like was trying to ban my show. I had like faculty who were in support and faculty who weren't in support. The one that got me really in trouble was like the sort of like kind of self-portrait of my whole body with a crucifix in my ass. Collages for me, I find them easier to approach, and I enjoy making them because I feel like having different sources and having those sources have a conversation, the hybridity of a thing, and that thing being like, I feel like that's how, not to say that that's how immigrant feels, but it's like you come to a place where you don't fit in. I'm interested in bringing different like sources like porn, working with like Mesoamerican artifacts.
Why use sexual? Because you used a lot of penises.
A lot more.
I mean, I have a problem with that, you know.
Why not? I think that's the thing is like I think there's an expectation of like being undocumented and having to make a certain type of work. I think about it was like dealing with my own sexuality too. You know, like,
Did your parents see this?
yeah.
Because I can't. My
parents-
mom got mad at me because I made this drawing of La Virgen de Chubby Virgen de Guadalupe, and she was like, "That's so disrespectful." I can't imagine.
I finally offended that you let such imagery affect your religious views. Like these are composed images that someone made up for you to buy.
Did you get any shit from like other immigrants that were like, "You should not make that kind of art"?
I mean, maybe not so much now, but before, like all these organizations were mostly like clergy-based organizations, you know, and ironically, all of us were fucking queer, you know. But it has changed. I mean, I think before it was more of a struggle. It's like, how do I fit in those boxes? How do I make art for this kind of spaces?
When you were doing a lot of activism work, how were you balancing that out with your queerness and then your art on top of that?
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself an activist, and I'm not definitely not an organizer. But I would definitely I don't have a mind putting my body, you know, like on the line. So I went to Georgia, and obviously going to the South like opened my eyes a lot. Like obviously seeing a reality that other undocumented people face.
Do you think there's an expectation from immigrant artists and other people of color that we have to respond? Can we make art about other things that are not politically necessary?
I think so. No, definitely. I feel like white people need to step up now. It's like 27. We shouldn't step back either. I feel like obviously like we have to make our space and make it known that we're here, that we're not going back.
Well, if those young people and older people as well who are making art want to find you and ask you questions, where can they find your work? Where can they see your work?
My website, felipebaeza.com, and then my Instagram, Felipe Baeza. That's it.
There you have it. Sir, thank you so much for being back. And
the original, I'm the OG.
The OG Taco Talk starter. Back!